The trembling that feels like relief on the outside may just be the echo of what's rotting within. But the body has learned how to confuse us with elegance. It knows how to repeat what hurts, how to simulate surrender, and even how to lie in silence. Tremors, spasms, involuntary movements, they can all appear to be signs of release. But there is a brutal difference between what moves and what truly dissolves. You don't realize you're trapped when the cage tastes like salvation. And that's exactly what happens when release becomes an automatic ritual, when the body acts, but the soul remains confined. False release is sophisticated. It wears the mask of progress while reenacting, over and over again, the collapse that was never integrated. There is a kind of freeze that dances, a trauma that vibrates, a pain that trembles as if it's leaving, but is only rehearsing its stay. And this invisible performance doesn't just delay healing, it sabotages it. Because the more you believe you're releasing, the deeper you embed yourself in the prison you've learned to call a process. This video was not made to soothe, it was made to cut, to reveal what almost no one sees. There is a somatic pattern that imitates release, but feeds the freeze. And if you don't learn to recognize it, you'll spend your whole life shaking the same ghosts, thinking you're making progress. Staying is a choice, but leaving requires discernment. What most people never realize is that the body has developed refined ways of avoiding its own collapse. It replaces true release with gestures that only act out healing. And this is where the danger lies. Because the more those movements repeat, the harder it becomes to reach what truly needs to be dissolved. There is a specific frequency in an authentic tremor, a vibration that doesn't stay limited to muscle or skin. It crosses into memory. It breaks invisible pacts. It dissolves stories the body had been holding as absolute truths. But this frequency does not appear on command. It does not respond to conscious will. It only emerges when the deepest lock, the one disguised as progress, is unmasked. Most people never get there. They keep going in circles, feeling temporary relief, mistaking the repetition of the gesture for the release of the cause. And it's not their fault. We were taught to see any vibration as progress, to applaud the movement, to celebrate the spasm, to associate trembling with transcendence, even when it's just the reflection of a nervous system stuck in a loop. But the ancients knew. Hermes, in the Corpus Hermeticum, said that the body hides both gateways and traps, that not every movement leads to the spirit, that some tremors seal you in, and some silences set you free. This wisdom got lost in the noise of countless techniques promising instant healing. But it is still alive, and it will be restored here. You will learn how to tell the difference between the tremor that frees and the one that sabotages. You will understand how to spot the full cycle of emotional discharge, and how to break the pattern that keeps your pain spinning in a loop. Because yes, there is a form of release that truly heals, but it looks nothing like what you've been conditioned to feel. This video will guide you there, not with shortcuts, but with truth. The body trembles. But what is it trying to say? In ancient traditions, that tremor would be read as a sign, not of healing, but of rupture. The ancients never saw the body as a machine. They treated it as a living codex, where each contraction, each spasm, each silence revealed hidden truths of the soul. In Egypt, the priests of Anubis believed that a body out of spiritual alignment tried to speak to the earth through its trembling. But only the initiate could discern when the tremor was a release, and when it was a cry disguised as captivity. Thoth, the architect of the word and guardian of the unseen, taught that every movement in the physical realm must be preceded by a permission granted in the inner realm. Otherwise, the movement becomes corrupted and starts vibrating deep misalignments, even if, on the surface, it looks like relief. That's why he used to say, every gesture not authorized by silence is just disguised noise. This wisdom is written on the stones of forgotten temples, in the burned scrolls, in the fragments of the tablet. But it is also alive in your sacrum bone, in the tension of your tongue, in the arch of your jaw, in the roof of your mouth. These points are not random. They are somatic portals, structures where vital energy decides whether it will circulate or collapse. The tremor that arises from these places can be a true release, or it can just be the echo of an encapsulated trauma, trying to leave and bouncing back against a wall you didn't even know was there. And there's one detail almost no one notices. Energy that finds no space to flow in silence bursts into discharge, and not every discharge is release. Some are just addictive discharges, repeated survival patterns the body learned to reproduce in order to stay sane. But Thoth also said that a body that repeats without awareness is a temple desecrated by haste. True trembling, the one that heals, is not born from hysteria. It doesn't rely on intensity. It emerges from silent permission. And that permission only happens when the body stops operating under the command of fear and begins to vibrate in harmony with the spirit. That's why the difference between releasing and sabotaging is not in how much you tremble, but in why. The science of trauma has advanced more in the last 20 years than in the entire century before. And one of its most intriguing discoveries doesn't just involve the brain, but the whole body. Dr. Stephen Porges, the creator of the polyvagal theory, revealed that the autonomic nervous system responds to real or perceived danger through specific states: fight, flight, freeze, and collapse. And that, many times, the body remains stuck in one of these states long after the danger is gone. But what matters to us here is the discovery of what's called chronic freeze, a subtle, often invisible paralysis that keeps the body running on autopilot without fully accessing its vitality. It's from this state that many bodily tremors emerge as attempts at release that never complete. Tremors that offer temporary relief but never reach the root of the blockage. Studies with patients in dissociative states, like those conducted by Bessel van der Kolk, show that certain regions of the body, such as the hips, diaphragm, throat, and mouth, accumulate tension patterns that cannot be resolved through talk therapy or traditional physical exercises alone. They require a more refined somatic listening, capable of distinguishing spontaneous healing movement from conditioned automatism built over years of repression. Today, through neuroimaging, we know that these states create specific activation patterns in the brain, affecting perception, memory, and even breathing. But beyond brain maps, what modern science confirms is that the body speaks, and that trembling can be a language. The key is knowing whether it's trying to open a door or simply banging against it. That's why it's not enough to observe movement. You have to understand the kind of movement, the flow, the source, the direction. What seems like release may be nothing more than a short circuit. What feels like peace may be numbness. And what looks spontaneous may, in truth, be the rehearsed script of a body still living inside the threat. And here lies the crucial point. The body never lies, but it also never improvises. It repeats what it has learned until someone listens with the precision it needs. That is the moment the tremor changes its tone, and the release finally happens. Before you can release the body, you must first decode the signal. It's not enough to allow it to move. You must listen to what's behind the movement. Every tremor carries a vibrational signature. Some come from an expanding soul, others from a remodeled prison. Knowing how to tell them apart is what turns a gesture into liberation. Step 1. Recognize the dominant somatic pattern. Every body displays a primary tendency when facing emotional stimuli. Sudden rigidity, cold sweat, chest tightness, or micro-vibrations in the limbs. When you feel any of these responses, pause, close your eyes, identify the region that screams the most, without judgment, without trying to fix it. This is the first access point to the portal of body awareness. Micro-action. For 60 seconds, bring your attention to that spot and simply feel, nothing more. Step 2. Disable the automatic command. Most releases are sabotaged because the nervous system is still running on an old script. The body tries to open a portal, but the mind triggers ancient alarms and shuts it down. The key here is to interrupt the cycle. How? With a simple internal vibrational phrase, I allow without needing to understand. This permission disarms the defense system and invites the body to reveal the truth behind the symptom. Micro-action. Whenever you feel a tremor or a discharge, repeat the phrase silently 3 times in a row and notice what shifts. Step 3. Reposition your attention axis. Many tremors are echoes from zones stuck in hypervigilance, not genuine release. When your focus is glued to the tension, it feeds it. The practice here is to gently shift your awareness to the neutral zones of the body, like the space between your eyebrows, the base of the skull, or the spot behind the navel. This moves the body's frequency from reactive mode into receptive mode. Micro-action. When you notice a tremor, direct 30% of your attention to a neutral point and keep your breath flowing freely. Just observe. Step 4. Activate the internal sound code. Not every sound needs to be voiced out loud. There is a vibration that begins in the roof of the mouth, travels through the laryngeal axis, and reorganizes the system without a single word being spoken. This frequency has no name, but when activated, it generates a micro-resonance that unlocks subtle points of retention. What seems like a muffled hum or inner buzzing may actually be a vibrational gateway. Micro-action. Gently place your tongue on the spot between the hard and soft palate. Take a deep breath and produce a soft nasal sound with your mouth closed. Hold it for 20 seconds. Feel it. Step 5. Invite deep stillness. After a discharge, many feel the urge to fill the void with more movement, more sound, more stimulation. But true release is only completed in silence. A silence that is not the absence of sound, but the presence of everything. In that stillness, the body reorganizes. The system finds new meaning. The soul integrates. This quietness cannot be forced, but it can be invited. And when it arrives, the entire body seems to vanish for a moment. It's the touch of origin. Micro-action. After a tremor or intense emotion, lie flat on the floor, arms relaxed at your sides, and stay completely still for 3 minutes. Just be. That's all. These practices are not performative rituals. They are frequency adjustments, acts of listening, portals of return. When done with presence, they don't just bring relief, they reprogram. They don't just release, they restore the vibrational sovereignty that trauma once stole. The body becomes a temple again. The breath becomes a prayer. And the tremor, finally, becomes language. Step 6. Decode the subtle return. Many believe the release ends at the peak of the tremor, but true healing begins when the body comes back from the abyss. It's in that quiet return that forgotten codes reveal themselves. You must decode what returns, not like someone analyzing, but like someone listening. The lingering goosebumps, the tear that falls without pain, the unexplained tingling. These are fragments of vibrational memory being rearranged. Microaction. After any somatic practice, sit in a meditative state and ask your body what feels different. Wait for the answer. It never comes through the mind. Step 7. Honor what hasn't moved. Not everything will release on the first try. Not everything is ready to emerge. And that's not a failure, it's wisdom. There are parts of you that still don't trust the outside world, that have been protecting themselves for decades, that will only open when you stop forcing them. Honoring what is still held back is the deepest act of vibrational love. Microaction. Place your hand over the area that remains tense, without any intention to change it. Just be with it. Breathe with it. Acknowledge that even the blockage holds a code. These last 2 steps aren't glamorous. They don't create dramatic, visible effects, but they are the most alchemical, because this is the moment when you stop being someone who chases techniques and become someone who listens to the intelligence of the body as a master. Real healing never makes noise. It whispers, and if you listen all the way through, you'll realize the truest tremor is the one that frees, not the one that impresses. When the sound stopped, he didn't notice, because the sound was inside. It was like an ancestral hum, an unbearable vibration that clung to his spine. Piers carried a restlessness that wasn't entirely his, and he knew it. It didn't come from obvious traumas or visible wounds. It was something more primitive, older than him. It had to do with his father and his father's father, men who never cried, men who never trembled. Since childhood, Piers would tighten inside whenever someone spoke of release. He found it beautiful in others, but in himself, it was far too dangerous. Because if he trembled, if he opened, if he revealed himself, something would break. The world around him wouldn't know how to hold it. He learned to vibrate on the inside without anyone noticing. But one day, the body refused to keep pretending. It happened during something trivial, a sound in the subway, a repetitive noise that triggered what had been buried. His hands started tingling, his jaw locked, and then came the tremor. It wasn't cathartic. It wasn't beautiful. It was ugly, silent, cold, but it was real. It was the body saying, enough. For weeks, Piers avoided going through it again, but something inside him had shifted. The tremor didn't bring instant relief. It simply exposed, and what had been hidden began to rise in waves. With time, he learned to distinguish the tremor that served as a mask for fear, and the tremor that quietly set fear free. Today, when the body vibrates, he doesn't run. He bows and listens. Not to release quickly, but to stop imprisoning anything else. There is a very specific moment when almost everyone gives up, and it's not due to a lack of technique. It's because the tremor is frightening. When the body starts releasing what's been held for years, it doesn't ask if you're ready, it just does. And the ego, which spent a lifetime trying to maintain the artificial order of things, interprets this as collapse. Many people, when they feel the first real signs of release, believe something is wrong. They think they're going backward, that they're getting worse, that they're breaking. But the truth is the opposite. The collapse you feel is the collapse of the prison, not of the soul. The essential obstacle is this: mistaking release for threat. The body starts to pulse differently, to tremble, to heat up, and you run. You block it, distract yourself, interrupt the flow, and the cycle ends before it can complete. To shift this, you need a simple vibrational key: to name it. Yes, name what you're feeling, not as a diagnosis, but as a rite of passage. The next time your body trembles, say internally, "This is an ancient code leaving my system. By doing this, you don't rationalize the tremor. You honor it. You don't force it. You acknowledge it. And in that recognition, fear loses its throne. You're not falling apart. You're making space. The difference between release and sabotage lies exactly here. Those who sabotage run at the peak of truth. Those who release stay even when they tremble. You don't need to understand everything, but you do need to feel. And more than that, you need to allow, because some codes only reveal themselves when you stop trying to control. And some portals only open when you stop trying to break them down. This video wasn't just about tremors. It was about the difference between trembling and releasing, between expressing and emptying. The body holds its own oracles, and when you silence the external noise, they finally speak. Not with words, but with impulses, flows, pulses, and pressures. That is how ancient wisdom still lives, through the tissue you inhabit. The real turning point doesn't happen when you eliminate fear. It happens when you understand its language. Because behind every tension, there is always a trapped code. And behind every code, a key to release. It's no longer about exact techniques. It's about living presence. About listening without anticipating, about allowing without suffocating, about dissolving the effort and opening space. There is a kind of trembling. The world applauds, the performative one, exaggerated, dramatic. But there's another kind, more subtle, almost imperceptible. And that's the one that truly frees. The microgesture, the involuntary sigh, the sudden release. These are the real codes of transmutation. True release doesn't impose itself, doesn't put on a show. It quiets, it disintegrates, it dissolves. And that's why it holds such power. It doesn't need to prove anything. It simply flows. And as it flows, it unties the knot. You don't need to shout that you're healing, or show that you're releasing. The body already knows. And when it knows, everything else aligns. As Lao Tzu once said, he who controls others is strong. He who controls himself is powerful. May you choose the subtlety of mastery, not the spectacle of disorder, because it is in the silence of the body that the soul whispers, I am free. If this content awakens something in you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That helps us take this knowledge even further and build a community of conscious bodies. Write this mantra phrase in the comments. I unmask the tremor that traps me and release what truly frees me. This affirmation seals your commitment to authentic release, the kind that doesn't mistake relief for sabotage. Share this video with someone who needs to understand that not every tremor is healing. And don't stop here. Click on the screen and dive into another transformational video. It might be the one that reveals the next invisible block in your body. Remember, there are tremors that relieve, and others that only delay the pain that should have already left.